Hi guys, welcome to a brand new episode of AB in the Films. Let's talk about one of the greatest shows ever made, The Sopranos. I have heard about this show for years. I have never seen this show at all. Not one episode, not one scene. I didn't know who any of the characters were. I didn't know who any of the actors were. Nothing. I didn't know a thing about this show. Everybody told me this is one of the greatest shows of all time. And I've seen Goodfellas. I've seen Casino. I've seen The Godfather. Yeah, I've seen a lot of mafia movies, but I've never seen a TV show. And I've never seen a TV show in this genre. And the main reason why I didn't watch it is, number one, we really don't have HBO. It's an HBO show, obviously. You guys know that. But I never really got into this show. I just never really did. Until April of 2019. I was at home, we had HBO on demand, and I saw The Sopranos, and I'm like, you know what, let me watch it. Let me watch the first episode, see what happens. Because 86 episodes, each of them an hour long. I mean, that's 86 hours. That's a long time. And you guys know me. I'm not a big fan of hour-long dramas. I mean, Dawson's Creek, that's the only exception, because it's too long. It's just too long for me. You know, I like half hours. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the way I am. But I watched the pilot. I don't know why I didn't watch this show sooner. This is such a good show.
Let me tell you something. Nowadays, everybody's got to go to shrinks and counselors and go on Sally Jesse Raphael and talk about their problems. Whatever happened to Gary Cooper? The strong, silent type. That was an American. He wasn't in touch with his feelings. He just did what he had to do. See, what they didn't know was once they got Gary Cooper in touch with his feelings, that they wouldn't be able to shut him up.
The minute one episode was over, I just went straight on to the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. Like, if I was off, I would sit there in front of my TV set for 8 hours just watching 8 episodes of The Sopranos. I mean, I just couldn't stop watching it. I was hooked. And yeah, everybody's right. They're right. The acting is phenomenal. I mean, James Gandolfini, may he rest in peace. This is the greatest. This is one of the best roles he's ever done. This is the role he's most famous for. And the characters, I mean, oh my gosh. Okay, so what's the show about? To all 2 of you who haven't seen it. By the way, this is not for kids. I mean, I'm going to be showing clips from the show here, and there will be spoilers in here, so if you haven't seen the show, watch the show first, then watch this review. And if you're a kid, I recommend that you don't watch this, because you're going to see a lot of violence here and a lot of language in this, so here we go. James Gandolfini is Tony Soprano, and he's going into therapy. That's literally the first scene of the movie, or of the pilot, I think. I called it a movie. It feels like a movie. You know, this was this was the show that, I think this was the first time we ever had an anti-hero in a show. Because Tony Soprano, the stuff he does, I mean, he's a murderer. He's a murderer. He's a liar. He cheats on his wife. He has horrible features in a human being. But he has a heart. At times he does. And you can't help but root for the guy at times. But then he'll do stuff where you're like, wait a second, this is the protagonist? You know, like, it's strange. But now, I mean, that's everywhere in TV shows. But at the time, in 1999, when the show first started, nobody was getting a TV show like this. And a TV show that felt like it was a movie. I mean, you feel like you're watching a movie when you watch this show. It doesn't feel like a TV show. It feels like a really long, stretched out film that happens to be 86 hours long. So Tony Soprano goes into therapy, doesn't tell anyone about it, doesn't tell his wife, and Lorraine Bracco is his therapist, who is Dr. Melfi, and they have a lot of great scenes together.
Melfi. What part of the boot you from, hon?
Dr. Melfi. My father's people were from Caserta.
Avellino. My mother would have loved it if you and I got together.
His mother, Livia Soprano, the woman who plays her, Who was the woman that played her? Yeah. I know she passed away in between seasons. And I feel that if she hadn't died, she probably would have been in the show a lot longer than she was. But she was phenomenal as his mother. She is the most manipulative pain in the A on the show. She's the reason Tony's having those blackouts. She's the reason for that. He's having panic attacks. I remember, because one of the major plot lines in not just the pilot, but in the first season, I think, is he's trying to put his mother in a home because she can't live on her own anymore. And she keeps saying, no, I can live on my own. And she's putting up a big fuss while him and his family are showing her the nursing home. And Tony has a panic attack right there and he just falls over. And that's another thing, this show, it's really, really funny. The scenes that I love, at least the scenes that come to mind, because again, I started watching this show back in April of 2019, and it took about 2 months to watch the whole thing. Like I said, I was constantly watching it. If I was ever at home and nothing was going on, I was in front of the TV watching The Sopranos, okay? So it took 2 months to watch the whole show. The whole show. And the scenes that I remember, because I haven't seen the show since I binge watched it a year and a half ago, the scenes that I remember are, because that's basically what I'm drawing inference from for this review. The scenes that I remember are the ones with Tony and his son AJ. I remember a lot of those scenes. AJ, so spoiled, so in his own mind, and he, doesn't care at times. And Tony would have freakouts in front of him, and
maybe it's a blessing.
Well, I don't see how that could be.
The place was too loose. It was too easy.
How can you say that? I got expelled.
You got nothing to say till I tell you. Unless I ask you a direct question.
Tony.
Season 6, the final season, that was split into 2 seasons, I think. Like, it was like Season 6 Part 1, Season 6 Part 2. That was a really intense season because it starts off with Uncle Junior killing Tony. Trying to whack Tony. Because Junior has, he has I think he has Alzheimer's. Is that what he has? He gets diagnosed with Alzheimer's or dementia or something like that. And he ends up killing Tony by accident, thinking he's somebody else. And Tony's in the hospital for like 3 episodes. And that whole dream sequence that he has, and it's James Gandolfini not doing the accent. It's him talking like his actual self. That shocked me. But AJ wants to get revenge on Junior for doing what he did to Tony, and Tony ends up picking him up from the police station. And the scene that they have outside the police station, that was some, again, so many scenes in this show have phenomenal acting, but that scene I remember specifically.
I guess your heart was in the right place, AJ. But it's wrong.
You don't know me. You don't know anything about me.
You're a nice guy, and that's a good thing, for Christ's sakes.
And the scenes where Tony and Carmela would fight, because she knows Tony's cheating on her, and he knows it too, and he can't deny it, he can't hide it anymore. And Edie Falco looks at him, and she goes,
What?
You know what I don't understand, Tony? What does she have that I don't have?
When Phil Leotardo came into the show, Frank Vincent's character, that's when I knew the show was going to get interesting. And especially in the last season, because it was just so crazy with everything going on, and characters were getting killed off left and right as you got closer to the finale. And I remember thinking, it almost became kind of like Game of Thrones. I remember thinking like, oh, who's going to get killed next? Who's going to get whacked next? Of all the characters that got whacked, the one that surprised me the most, and I think it surprised everybody, was when they found out about Big Pussy. When they found out about him with wearing the wire and everything, and before that happened, Tony Soprano, you know, he's talking to Silvio, and they're waiting for Paulie to come in to the restaurant, and they're just waiting for him because you know, he's all nervous about you know did Big Pussy go behind our backs and go to the feds? Did he do that? That's also another great scene that Gandolfini just nails right out of the ballpark. It's amazing.
Did you do it?
Tony.
Shh. Don't fucking lie to me. Did you do it?
No.
Did you fucking do it?
No.
Do it?
I said no!
And the scenes with Meadow, you know, talking to him, you know, when she asks him if are you in the mafia, and he doesn't know what to tell her. He is. He just doesn't want to say it, you know. But and she, you know, when they're having that argument, when she wants to move out, and she says, "Wow, listen to Mr. Mob Boss. What did you just call me?" And he gets up, and Edie Falco tries to stop him. She's like, "Tony, shut up. Tony! You got something to say to me? Go ahead, I'm right here, say it." And they have that whole scene together, like, oh man, Gandolfini, you know, when he died, it didn't hit me when he died. I remember being in shock, but at the time, I had never seen the show. Now that I've seen the show, man, what a loss. That guy, man, was that guy a great actor. He's nothing like the character. Nothing like that. That's how great an actor he was. And everybody in the show was just, like, and when it was all over, you know, as soon as I got to the finale, I was like, that's it. Like, it was kind of upsetting. Like, I kind of wanted it to keep going, but you really couldn't, because, like, half the characters are dead at this point, you know, when you get to the finale. And that was another thing I liked in the last season. You know, in season 6, when Tony's in the hospital after Junior tries to shoot him, and he's in the hospital recovering from the bullet wounds for like 3 episodes. He was in a coma. And what I loved about it was, you know, you could see like the parallels between heaven and hell in his dream, because you see him in this dream world, and he's not talking, you know, he's not talking like this in this accent, but he's talking like his actual self. You know, James Gandolfini, he's talking like his actual self, and when he sees Steve Buscemi, who was one of the characters in the show a couple seasons earlier, you know, he's in front of this house, and he's ready to go into this party, and he's like, oh, you can't go in there. You can't go in there with your briefcase. But I want my briefcase. He goes, no. You need to let go. Let go of the briefcase. Basically symbolizing, let go of your life and come with us. You know, basically come with us into hell. You know, because you got all the demons there on your back and everything. And he looks over in the doorway, and I think, it's never explained, but I think what he sees is the shadow of his mother. Because his mother was such a manipulative woman, just so manipulative. And then he hears Meadow, from when she was younger, saying, "Daddy, please don't go." And he looks up, and he looks in the trees, and he can hear his daughter. He's like, "Who's calling me?" And then all of a sudden, poof, and he wakes up. Like that was powerful stuff, man. That was intense, seeing that. And also the scene before it, you know, he's doing fine in the hospital, and Paulie comes in, and he starts talking to him while he's in the coma, and he's telling him all the most stressful things you can think of, and his heart starts slowing down. And then Paulie's with the guys, he's like, "It's those doctors, it's their fault." But it's really, he was the one adding stress to Tony when he was talking to him in a coma. All the stuff that Tony doesn't want to hear, but Paulie wants to tell him anyway, because Tony's not going to hear me anyway. He's in a coma, so I'll just tell him all this stressful stuff. That's not good for his heart anyway. Oh, the scene when, you know, that's another thing. This show is not meant to be funny, but it's got a lot of funny moments. And one of those, there were plenty of them, but one of them that I liked was, you know, there's a lot of O's in the Sopranos. There's a lot of moments like that, okay? There's a lot of A's, O's, oh! There's a lot of those. The best O ever, hands down, in this show is when Chris and Paulie start having an argument outside the restaurant, and the waiter comes out. If you guys have seen this, the waiter comes out, and he's complaining that, first of all, the meal was like $11.80 something, and they gave the waiter a $16 tip. And the waiter starts getting into a little tiff with them, and this happens.
Yeah, right. Go piss it away at blackjack.
Oh! Best O ever. I must have rewound that 7 or 8 times when I saw that episode. Whatever episode that was. I must have rewound that so many times. Paulie saying that just got to me. That was the best. The finale, when I watched that was one of the best finales I've ever seen, especially the last 5 minutes. We all know it. And when that first aired, a lot of people thought that their TVs were, blacked out or something. And no, but it's all there. It's all there in the finale. And when I watch the show now, and I watch that finale, you watch a couple of episodes before the finale, yeah, it's all there. It's all explained well. And there have been YouTube videos where they dissect the last 5 minutes. Okay, this happens here. This is Tony's point of view. This is what the other character looking across from him sees. This is what that means. This is what that, and yeah, that was the end of the show. And it makes total sense what happens to Tony Soprano at the very end of the show. I can see it. And there's a lot of references to that scene in prior episodes. It's all there, and I thought it was perfect. And I am so looking forward to the Many Saints of Newark. It was supposed to come out this month, but because of COVID, it got delayed. They finished filming it, but now it's going to come out in March of 2021, and I can't wait to see it. James Gandolfini's son is going to play young Tony Soprano. He looks just like him. Like, I've seen pictures. He looks just like him. I can't wait to see that. Yeah, I love this show. I actually want to add this show to my top 20 favorite TV shows list. I did a top 20 favorite TV shows list back in 2014, I think. Yeah, Sopranos wasn't on that list. It's on there now. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on The Sopranos, and I will see you guys in the next review. Later.